Hey y'all, how's it going? Well, today I'm going to be making some salsa for you guys. That's what this video is all about. I am making uno, dos, tres. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is actually this one here in the middle. It is the regular salsa made with tomatoes. Randy and I kind of like a medium to medium hot salsa. And as I go through this process, I will explain to you how you can change it to your liking based on the amount of peppers that you add and the seeds inside the peppers. So this will be up first. The second video is this one here, and it is made with tomatillas. It is a roasted salsa verde. And then lastly is the chipotle tomatilla salsa, and it is hot. Now with each of these salsas, each of the videos, at the very end I will be showing you a recipe of incorporating them. Hopefully it'll be a recipe that maybe you've never done before or thought about. So before we get started, just a reminder, did I say
this one is
hot?
Anytime you're canning, you should follow safe recipes. I love this page from the newest ball book. It gives you options on salsas. Down at the bottom, you can see the tomato jalapeno and the amounts. We're basically just tripling those amounts. Now it calls for lime juice, but I don't have lime juice, so I'm replacing that with 5% vinegar, which you'll see in a bit. Now all three of my salsas I am making today have onion, garlic, and peppers. Now here I am peeling tomatillas, which you'll see them used in salsas number 2 and 3. I am arranging tomatillas stem side down on this large rimmed baking sheet, and my onions are skin side down, jalapeno peppers, and garlic. The garlic I actually put in some foil because it's going to take less time for those to soften in the oven. You need to preheat your oven to 425, and you're going to bake them around 15 minutes. The garlic should be ready at that point, softened. You're going to remove it and continue baking the rest until they are nicely charred, about another 15 minutes. So for today's salsa recipe, we're going to need tomatoes. You can see here I have cored them and scored them on the bottom. I have boiling water on the stove, and I'm dropping them in just to scald them for about 30 seconds or until the peels loosen. And then we drop them in the ice water bath. It's important not to really overcook your tomatoes. You're just trying to get them to the point where you can easily remove the skins. Now this recipe calls for 6 pounds of tomatoes, and I am using a mix of paste and some from my garden. You can see that they peel very easily if you scald them first in hot water. I am saving those skins in a baggie to put in my dehydrator later on. I like to dehydrate those skins and crush them into a tomato powder, which is great to add to soups and stews and meatloaf, just whatever you like where you've got a nice tomatoey texture. I'm not running my dehydrator at the same time though as all this canning because it's just too hot and humid to do both. So now it's time to chop up those tomatoes. I chose to do it by hand. You could use a food processor, but I just wanted to make sure I could capture all that juice. It was just as easy to do it by hand. Plus, I am using an immersion blender. One less dish to dirty by doing it right there in the pan. And we like our salsa with a few chunks, but not huge chunks. So the blender does the trick. At this point, the garlic was soft and ready to come out to cool a little bit, and I also got my canner ready. I'm using half-pint jars instead of pint jars. Next up, the onions and peppers were all ready to go. So I am putting in my food processor the equivalent of about 2 cups of roasted onions, plus that long pepper that I got from the farmer's market, and 1, 2, 3 jalapenos with the seeds, processing until kind of chunky, smoothish, and adding that to my fresh tomatoes. Now, in addition to this, I wanted to have a little bit of a crunch, so I've added 1 seeded jalapeno chopped, 6 cloves of diced garlic, and cilantro. It's about 1/3 of a bundle. You could use more if you like. We like cilantro, but not a ton of it. A word here about the vegetables I'm adding. First off, you don't have to roast them, but I prefer them that way for this recipe. And in terms of the heat, you could switch up what peppers you use. Poblanos, yellow banana peppers are much milder in taste. You could also just eliminate the seeds and the veins from your jalapenos, and you will have a much milder salsa. And now to kick it up a notch, I always love Mrs. Wage's salsa mix. I'm using 3/4 of a cup there. You can buy them in single packets, but I love it so much I buy it in the big jar. Next, we need to acidify our salsa, 5% vinegar, and I used an entire cup. You could use an equal amount of lime juice as a substitute for the vinegar if you like. Now you're going to take this to the stove and bring it to a boil. After that, you want to lower your heat and simmer for 10 minutes, stirring occasionally. Now we're ready for canning. You bring over that hot jar out of your hot canner, and you're going to put your hot salsa into the jar, leaving a 1/2 inch of headspace. I got a little too much in there, I believe, so I'm taking it out, and now I'm going to measure to make sure that I'm at the 1/2 inch mark. Using my little tool there, you can see I'm a bit shy because when you add to the 1/2 inch, it will actually touch. Now it's time to debubble. You want to wipe the rim very well with a paper towel that's dampened in vinegar. Add your hot lid and your ring, only to finger tight. And in the canner it's going to go. You want to process for 40 minutes. This salsa recipe filled 12 half-pint jars. Now how about we cook up something delicious using that salsa? For this recipe, you need 1 large bell pepper. I have 2 small ones from my garden, and 1 onion diced. You need 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast, and we're going to slice it and dice it. But first, I like to use my, I don't know what you call that there, my meat beater. I like to beat the chicken, pound the chicken until it's all about the same thickness. And then I will slice it and dice it into cubes. Next, you're going to need a quart of chicken stock. I don't have any in my freezer at this time that I have already made, so when that happens, I like to use this product right here, Better Than Bouillon. Y'all, that is so flavorful. They make it in several different flavors. Chicken, roasted garlic, beef. I think there's even a ham one. But you mix 1 teaspoon of this into 1 cup of water. So since there are 4 cups there, I have a total of 4 teaspoons. Stirring it up really well. To that, we're adding 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, a half a teaspoon of paprika, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Stir that up. In this pot, I have 2 tablespoons. I used grapeseed oil. You could use whatever oil you prefer. And we're going to saute this chicken along with the green peppers and the onion over medium-high heat. Going to stir it and cook it until the chicken is a little bit browned and the vegetables are tender. Shouldn't take more than 7 or 8 minutes. Now to that, I am adding 2 medium blanks jalapeno peppers. Blanks meaning the seeds and the veins are removed. And we want it minced, along with 2 garlic cloves minced. You're just going to stir that, cook it until the garlic is fragrant, which will only take about a minute. Now we're going to pour that broth over our chicken mixture. And here comes our salsa, 1 8-ounce jar. Need to bring that to a boil. Once it's boiling, then we're going to reduce the heat to medium-low and cook it a simmer until the chicken is tender, no longer pink in the center, about 20-25 minutes. Next, we're going to add 2 cans of cannellini beans, and they need to be well rinsed, drained and rinsed. And additionally, if you like cilantro, about 1/4 of a cup. Need to stir the beans and the cilantro into the chili, and you're going to cook it until the beans are hot and soft, which will take about 10 minutes. Hope you enjoy.